That's going to make it easier for me to finish a triangle. But we can finish a triangle with his arm on this side of my body as long as it is not burying under my hip. If it's burying under my hip and he's like got his arm tucked, that's opposite side triangle territory. That's where you're going to want to go for opposite side triangle. And that's where you're going to want to go for Kimuras. But if the arm comes out, and we'll look at a flow series later, if his arm is in this position, so we went from Williams into trap, and he has brought his arm under my armpit, then Kimuras are not going to be likely, because it is very difficult, not impossible, but it's a lot of work for me to roll his arm up and then get a grip of the wrist. It's difficult because his wrist is hidden under my armpit. It's pinned under my armpit, but it's hidden. So on this scenario, triangles are a perfect opportunity. And you'll have the option of staying under your leg and locking a triangle, or going over the top of your leg and locking the triangle. The two distinct methods that we can use to pull our foot in or our leg in is a shin grip here, here, or a foot grip here. Do not use your feet, okay? Not that it doesn't work, but you can, if you're new to triangles, I've seen it, you can pull your foot down, and if someone is posturing up at the same time, you're essentially toe holding yourself. And so these ligaments right here, I believe it's called something like the deltoid complex. Now, some of you out there might be more technical in exercise science than me. I've been a long time since I did anatomy. But there's like 3 little ligaments right here that break very simply. They rip really easy. Sound like jeans. But if you're here like this, pulling, and they posture, you can just tear those quite easy. Nothing big. They heal on pretty much on their own. But that's silly. When you could just grab your foot itself, or the shin here, or the shin under your leg. Now, the one problem with grabbing the shin under your leg is that, see, my hand is in the way, so I am going to have to move it down either to my foot to lock a triangle, or forget about that grip entirely. But it's fast. The one thing about this, if I had this, that's a very quick grip, and it's a very secure grip. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to look at how to finish this triangle first. Okay. Again, can't speak highly enough about that triangle DVD. But if you don't want this much girth in your triangle, it's not good. There's too much. So if I lock this triangle on, what I prefer to do, if I'm going to stay straight on, here's what I like to do. I've locked a tight triangle. Now there is a method to holding and using the knife edge of your hand. This will work. This will work quite well, but it doesn't work all the time. It's not foolproof. And the method to do that is to use the knife edge hand, and you place it on the carotid. You can see Kyle's carotid there. It's all sticking out because his other one's getting blocked, sticking out. And then you grab your shin, you stiff arm the carotid, and you finish by pulling in. But it's definitely not foolproof. Okay. It may work on lesser opponents, or it may surprise somebody that's not been there. If they're tired, they may tap. If they're exhausted, that can make anyone tap, but it's not foolproof. So what I like to do if I'm going to stay straight on is simple. I like to hold the shin and untie the triangle to move my foot into a more advantageous position. If we're staying straight on, this hand better be ready to dominate the far arm and keep it where it is, so that I can move away far enough to lock much further up just on the opposite side of the shoulder instead of down the back, because if I stay square on, I need to be right on the opposite side of the shoulder. And then I can now pull the head down, and if you can make the chin face the hamstring, that's great. Otherwise, if you can't, you pull the head down, you squeeze the knees, and you bring the hips up, and you can get a good finish there. Okay? This has been an age-old triangle for years and years. It can be a very good finish, and you can submit a lot of people in that scenario. Or you can go get the angle, and what that looks like, as long as the arm is here, again, what that looks like is holding, disappearing the shoulder, and going after a very, I want to say new triangle, but I'd
I'd say it's safe to say that the details that John shows on the triangle are relatively groundbreaking. Now, cutting an angle is nothing new, but the reason why you might cut an angle and the way that it is explained definitely defines, breaks some new ground. So you can cut your angle, or you can stay square on. Cutting the angle again, you'll just need this power of the squeeze. You won't need to pull your head down, his head down. You won't need to put your hips basically up. You can finish someone with just mere squeeze. If you're going to stay square on, you're going to need these details. I like to say that you move your body away, you keep the hand isolated, you make sure that the lock of the ankles is much higher, so it's really close to the shoulder line. It is not down by the back. Down by the back, you have very little chance to finish any type of front triangle, so you need it to be nice and high, so the shoulder is going to pinch in on the neck and the opposite leg pinches in on the neck. You pull the head down and squeeze. But again, the triangle, why is it there in this scenario? It's there in this scenario because the arm was up by the shoulder. It's not down by my back. Now, when you do catch a triangle, if I do adjust and catch a triangle, it is not uncommon for him to hug my hip. Very common, because Kyle knows, hey, the shoulder's inside. I didn't isolate the shoulder. I didn't make the shoulder disappear. Shoulder's inside. So this now happens a lot. And that, I used to try to lock the front triangle before I knew opposite side triangle, and this was the scenario that would happen all the time. And again, this will submit people. It will, especially if they're tired. But if this happens, we might as well start looking at opposite side triangles, and if I stay out in front of him, I know that I can start looking for Kimuras. Now, if I go for a Kimura, and I start to put the hips up, and I'm starting to look for Kimura, and Kyle straightens his arm and turns it, well then now I can drop it, put it in my armpit, and I can switch back to a front triangle, whether I'm here or whether I go under and collect the angle to make the shoulder disappear. So the front triangle can come from numerous ways. We'll actually take a look at later. There are some lower percentage Kimura attacks we'll take a look at later that almost always end with the arm out front. So it'll be out front sometimes. It'll be out front sometimes when you go for Kimura and they straighten their arm, but you've got